Welcome back to the Morning Mindset, my friends. It is our time to do the work necessary for this day to get our minds aligned with the truth of God's Word. Because you're going to show up in this day according to the way your mind is set. And I want to help you get your mindset along the line of the truth of God's Word. Friends, did you know there is a companion journal that goes along with the Morning Mindset? Now, to be completely honest, it's a bunch of formatted blank pages that enable you to kind of capture your thoughts about what's being shared on the Morning Mindset, even a place for you to sketch out thoughts, draw charts, make diagrams, to journal, to paraphrase the Bible verse that's used, all kinds of things that you might find helpful. Go to the description of this episode to find out more. Friends, let me ask you, do you have a besetting sin? Now, that's kind of an old-fashioned term, besetting sin. It means some kind of sin that recurs in your life. It comes up over and over and over. Now, you don't have to answer out loud to me or to anyone who's in the car with you, perhaps, but just think about that for a moment. Because today, we are going to step into the circumstance where Abraham commits the same sin again. And God's faithfulness is just overwhelming. Now, if you remember yesterday's episode of the Morning Mindset, Abraham had lied to this king Abimelech about his wife Sarah. He said, she's my sister, because he was afraid. And we're going to pick up today with King Abimelech's confrontation of Abraham. In Genesis chapter 20, verses 8 through 13, it says, So Abimelech rose early in the morning and called all his servants and told them all these things. And the men were very much afraid. Now, going back to yesterday's passage, this all things that he tells his servants is a conversation Abimelech actually had with the Lord, where the Lord confronted him and said, do not touch the woman who you've taken into your house, which is Abraham's wife, Sarah. Then Abimelech called Abraham and said to him, What have you done to us? And how have I sinned against you, that you brought on me and my kingdom a great sin? You have done to me things that ought not to be done. And Abimelech said to Abraham, What did you see that you did this thing? Abraham said, It is because I thought, there's no fear of God at all in this place, and they will kill me because of my wife. Besides, she is indeed my sister, the daughter of my father, though not the daughter of my mother. And she became my wife. And when God caused me to wander from my father's house, I said to her, This is the kindness you must do to me. At every place which we come, say of me, He is my brother. Now, friends, this is deja vu. Abraham did this same thing back in Genesis 12. That's why I asked you about besetting sins. It seems like Abraham had this fear ingrained in him for some reason that people were going to see Sarah, they were going to want Sarah, and people in power were going to kill him in order to get his wife. And so Abraham tells, I guess, what we would consider a white lie. He tells the truth. She is his half-sister. And in those days, that was very common, so don't let that be a bothersome thing to you. But he doesn't tell the whole truth. She also is his wife. And friends, the real sin here is deeper than just telling a lie. Abraham was engaged in this deep-seated root of self-protection. He was fearful. He was not trusting his God. And friends, we often find ourselves in that same set of sandals. I don't know if you recognize that or not, but it's true. We forget God's faithfulness to us as His people. Now, in Abraham's case, back in Genesis chapter 12, verse number 3, God had made a specific promise to him. He said, I will bless those who bless you, and him who dishonors you, I will curse. And so Abraham had this tremendously powerful and reassuring promise from God. Yet he still was stuck in this pattern of fear regarding Sarah and his own safety in relationship to her. Friends, we forget God's faithfulness, just like Abraham. But God has given us a promise as well. In 2 Timothy 2:13, he says, If we are faithless, He, meaning God, remains faithful, for He cannot deny Himself. Friends, it's that last phrase of 2 Timothy 2:13 we need to key in on. God cannot deny Himself. What does that mean? It means He is faithful in the very core of His being. When He commits Himself to a person, He cannot go back on that word. And friends, through Jesus Christ, He has committed Himself to you and to me. He has come alongside us in the most powerful of ways by making a covenant with us. And God must be true to himself, no matter what you face today. Oh God, help us to orient our minds and our hearts around this truth that you are faithful no matter what. And you are on our side. You're in our corner. You're the one who has committed yourself to us. And Lord, give us the faith to not fear, to not be anxious, to not make decisions based out of those things, but rather to trust you, because you will remain faithful to us today, no matter what.